I'm Sumala. We are at the Dhaka Global Dialogue 2019, and we have a very interesting live panel today on Destination SDG, New Frameworks for Sustainable Tourism. Sustainable tourism globally is the thing now. 10% of the global GDP and 11% of world employment comes from tourism alone. The discussion today will be pivoted and focused primarily on scalability and youth engagement in tourism. And we have two fantastic people with us today. I will introduce them to you shortly. But before we move on, I just want to add a small element on the topic, which is in 2019, a report was published by UNWTO, which clearly stated that all 17 SDGs are influenced and impacted by tourism. So this is something that we want to integrate in our conversation today, and I will move on now to introduce my panelists. We're very lucky here today because we have two pioneers. We have on my left, Shahid Hussain Shamim. He is CEO of Ajir Fair Trade Tourism, and he's the first person, he's a pioneer for fair trade practices, community-based fair trade practices in Bangladesh. On my right, I have Corvi Rakshand, who I know personally for many years. Corvi does fantastic work on education. He is the founder and ED of Jago Foundation. And he has, within Jago Foundation, a separate youth wing, which is called Volunteers for Bangladesh, which empowers the youth, engages the youth, and creates active citizens. So we will move on to the panel now. I will start off with Shamim Bhai. I have a small question for you, which is if you could just give us a context about sustainable tourism. What are some of the challenges and how we can overcome those to reach scalability, not just in Bangladesh, but in the global context?
Thank you, Sumala. Actually, we have to engage the community for the brand imaging of our country, which is more about tradition, norms, and natural resources and history. So we have to have the young people engaged with, and at the same time to understand the positive impact of environment, society, and economy, and low impact on environment means like it has to be like more generating future employment. The more young people will be involved in this sector, and they need to be trained, the skillful young generation, those who will provide the services for the tourists, those who will come experiencing Bangladeshi tradition and culture. So there are a lot of challenges, but I think it should be community-led tourism. At the same time, simultaneously, government has to be come up with them supporting, I would say, the simultaneous leadership with government and with the community together.
Absolutely. And you have some very interesting projects across Bangladesh working with communities, training them on moving away from just being logistical providers to experience providers. So you have something, you were mentioning earlier in the speaker's room that you have something in Birishiri in Bangladesh. So if you could just shortly tell us about how that supports scalability, that kind of model.
Actually, when we say the community means what? So that's why Azir Fair Trade Tourism choose three community, which is one is Kamalganj, Manipuri community, Bidishiri is Garo community, and Tangal is more plainland community, those who are engaged with agriculture and other crafts.
Absolutely.
So Kamalganj community is Manipuri community. They have their own tradition and culture. They keep alive, and at the same time, if you see the intangible culture, which needs to be safeguarding. So tourism can help to safeguard that kind of the intangible cultural heritage. So our cultural heritage can it has to be move on to the young people, those who will own their culture, and at the same time they present that culture properly to the tourists as it is their livelihood rather than add on in attraction.
Would
So
I be correct in saying so? Having community-led initiatives and training people in creating experiences will not only draw tourists, but because it's community-led, they will have more ownership of their surroundings, and therefore scalability will happen in a more sustainable manner. Am I correct?
exactly. Actually, the promoting real life. So that if they understand how to present to the tourists, and they will be one, you can say the entrepreneur type. It's not like
Absolutely.
serving to other people. So
Absolutely.
it's not hotel, it's not like any other restaurant, but all services available in the community level is more their real life. So they
Absolutely.
will be more skillful. I would say specialized kind of skill, not
Right.
like hotelier, but
Right.
they are also giving service like hotel or the other
It's a
restaurants.
holistic
It's
experience
a
creation.
holistic
Absolutely.
experience.
I'm going to ask a question to Corby now. Corby, you've been working with young people for a very long time, and we just wanted to include youth in in this particular topic because increasingly all the sustainability facets include youth in development countries like us because we have a very young population. That's why the whole dialogue of young people getting engaged from early on, understanding, evolving is very crucial. So, how do you think, in the broader framework of tourism, youth fit in?
Thank you, Sumalapu. I think it's a very timely asked question when Bangladesh is going to become a middle income country. And worldwide, if you look at the demographic, around 50% of the population is under the age of 25. And in Bangladesh, it's more than 50%. And it's increasing. By 2030, we'll have around 70% population which is under the age of 25. So not only about sustainable tourism, but any changes that we want to bring, we have to engage youth. So in terms of particularly tourism, when we talk about young people, they are not only the consumers. So consumer is only one part when they're enjoying the facilities, but they're also the stakeholders, and this is where we have to increase a bit more. Like Shwet Bhai was saying, that if there are opportunities from the government, from the private sector investment, where young people can become entrepreneurs, and especially from the local communities, rather than me born in Dhaka going to a village, if we can actually preserve their culture, their heritage, that will not only help, it's not about only heritage preservation, but economically those communities will grow. And in terms of practices, I think a lot of awareness is needed. So for example, we can see in a lot of hotels now they say, go green at the hotels, reduce your carbon footprint, say no to illegal trades, support sustainable options in island destinations, take care of heritage places, support community-based tourism, which is very important
Yes.
right now in Bangladesh, and respect the practice of local people. So I think these are things where we need a mass awareness with young people and a lot of training also. If we can make them skillful, I think that will really, really bump up the entire industry. As you were saying that a good amount of like 10% of the income is through tourism.
Tourism, yes.
So I think that's where I think young people can play a big role.
I also want to add in the last 2 decades, if we look at the trend of tourism, at least in Bangladesh, you can see that more and more young people are traveling. They're traveling not out of love for travel, but from their other interests, such as photography, work, community based development work. And we see that because of technology, because of social media, these locations which were earlier not known of, you now have people going there in flocks. Places like Birishiri, places like Tangwarhaur, which is a Ramsar site, or even if we, one of my most favorites is the Hamham waterfalls of Sylhet, which was actually discovered by a young group of photographers who were just traveling through the area to find some very interesting locations. So I think it is extremely important to engage youth on, and I really like the fact that you mentioned that they have two-faceted roles. One is a consumer, and the other is a
Also the
stakeholder in many ways. And they also directly or indirectly support and promote those destinations. And to promote those destinations in a sustainable manner is extremely important. I have one more question, which is how do you think, I mean, other than these practices, because your organization has been very crucial in activating youth, how would you, other than entrepreneurship, like what would be a low-hanging fruit in which you can activate youth for tourism? If you could just mention one or two quick solutions.
I think one important thing is that why are young people getting stopped when we say about entrepreneurship? And that's, I think, the most easiest way for them because they're from the local district, they want to work there, they want to have a better job. So if we can create consortiums or platforms, for example, a group of private sector, a group of government people, and they can sit with young people and try and identify which are the places they can work on. I think that's the most easiest way. And through this platform, I want to definitely mention, you mentioned some of the unknown places.
Yes.
But world's biggest unbroken beach is in Bangladesh.
Yes.
World's biggest mangrove forest is in Bangladesh. The Royal Bengal tiger is from Bangladesh. So I think these are things that we need to focus. Not only about local tourism, but I think also international tourism is allowed in this country. So we can definitely attract the young people in those places to come. And a lot of people come through volunteerism, just to volunteer. So if we can partner something with the government and the private sector can do the investment, there are young people with great ideas. I think that's where we have to invest and do the innovations.
Okay. I just want to have a concluding thought, sort of summarizing both our interesting panelists. One is that community-led initiatives will yield to better sustainability models and therefore also looks at scalability because you have more tourists coming in those places to have those unique experiences. And this is not just in context to Bangladesh, but globally, in whoever is working. And in terms of youth, we can say that engaging them, especially on the experience creation and more on entrepreneurial level, will help us to support these sustainable initiatives much better. I think in addition to what has already been said, I think it's also very important to create awareness on the model of sustainability. I mean, there are three basic elements. You're looking at the environment, you're looking at the society, and you're looking at economic viability without violating other people's rights or spaces. And I think those things and those kinds of engagements are very important to take this forward. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the thing is, engaging what Karubi said is very important because they are the strength and promoting their authentic real life. And we have a lot of designers and other cultural industries. Those who go to the village, stay with the village people. They want to see what they are doing.
Yes.
At the same time, we have lot of success stories like microcredit and other agricultural
development tourism.
Development tourism.
Absolutely.
So people comes from Japan and other countries too.
Yes.
And at the same time, from our country, the young students from the city, they goes to the village level, staying with the community people and understanding how they live.
If I get 30 seconds to ask you a question, because you have been doing this for decades, one small suggestion for the young people: how do they actually do this whole entrepreneurship? How you're doing the organic thing? Very short.
Actually, the thing is that village level, the people are doing their own way. So we have to organize them, especially the young people, how to present it to the tourists, because there are some things which takes long. So it has to be squeezed and make it shorter for the tourist friendly.
So I think that's really lovely because it talks about congruency of needs versus service provision, in keeping in mind that it's not just a regular service, but tourism is beyond that. So that is, thank you so much. I would like to thank both my panelists for being here today. Shamimba, you took time out from your busy schedule, and Karvi for your fantastic 2 cents on youth engagement. And I hope that people will continue to watch our live sessions. Thank you.